Hello and welcome to another episode of Designer Talks. I'm here with Lauren Thompson and we're going to find out a bit more about her collection. So do you want to just talk us through your collection, the inspiration behind it, like what we can expect to see?
Yeah, so my collection is called Submerge and it's basically about my journey through third year. So I'm someone that likes to be really in control of things, and it's essentially about letting go of that and then being able to submerge yourself into something really creative.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Okay, cool. Have you faced any challenges so far with that collection? Or?
Yeah, so I do the Shingo pattern cutting method.
Yeah.
And that is way harder than I planned, and it's taken a lot more time, but I'm kind of glad I've done it because I feel like it's made it more advanced.
Yeah. So you're happy with how it's going so far?
Yeah, really happy.
Cool. Do you want to talk us through the outfit that you're wearing today?
I just kind of chucked it on. It was a bit rainy. We were in the studio for about 12 hours, so we tend to just wear something that's kind of comfortable.
Right. What is your one essential item that you think you couldn't live without and that everyone should have in their wardrobe?
I think probably a good jumper.
A good jumper.
I feel like it's okay for any weather, and you can put a nice necklace on, it'll still look nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I live for a good jumper.
Would you say that's your go-to item?
Yeah, probably.
Do you have a favourite jumper?
No, not really. I don't think so.
Who is your favourite designer and why?
I don't really have a specific favourite. I like different collections, but my favourite type of design would be Japanese streetwear kind of
That's
thing.
really interesting.
I do like the Chanels and the really nice delicate stuff, but I'm more a streetwear kind of.
Would you say that any collections have stood out and have kind of influenced this collection that you're creating for the fashion show?
Not really. There's been the trends of the straps, the buckles, the oversized menswear being women's wear and streetwear. That whole trend and the shift in gender neutral is kind of influenced me more than anything.
Can we expect to see some of that in your collection?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what about, you said that you don't really have a specific designer, but is there any artists that maybe have influenced your work?
I quite like Kandinsky, so he did a lot of shapes and lines and everything, and that's kind of what my whole thing is based on, a journey, so it's a lot of A-line, and then because I've added all the seams in with the Shingo method, it also gives a sense of journey and things.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you mentioned you were using a pattern cutting technique called TR. Can you tell us a little bit more about that technique and where it came from?
Yeah, so it's by a designer called Shingo Sato, and it's essentially, the way I use it is, for a jacket I make up the jacket toile, and then I make up the kind of lumps and bumps I want to stick on it, sew them on, and then I'll draw the new lines where all the seams are going to go. And then essentially what you have to do is add all your notches so that it can be sewn back together, but you'll have to cut up each and every piece and make sure it lies flat so that it can be a pattern piece. And then when you sew it all together, the garments should just naturally go like that instead of have something stuck on them, and then all the seams are in different places.
Okay, that sounds really technical, sorry.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go with that?
Because of the whole journey and aspect of journey, I needed a lot of lines, and then where everything's all bubbly and creative, everything kind of has lumps and everything on it, so it kind of just fit mine perfectly without even having to plan for it.
Okay. Do you think that kind of makes your collection stand out above others?
Yeah, I think it does. I think the amount of time and effort put into it, and it's really complicated. It's taken me a very long time to get where I am with it, and I think it shows a lot of hard work.
Would you say that was another one of your challenges then, this is taking up a little bit more time than you anticipated?
Yeah, 100%, and I think it's also prepared me for when making the final one, how much time I really am going to need to set aside for it, because of how difficult it is compared to others.
Okay. Do you have a favourite piece of clothing or jewellery that you can't live without?
I don't have favourite pieces, but I'll only wear gold, so I'll always have something on that's gold, whether it's just one necklace or whether I have doubled up and more earrings and everything.
Are you more of a statement person, or do you just like to kind of go with the flow, accessorise?
Yeah, I think I just accessorise with what I think might go at the time.
Okay.
I don't really have stuff that I have to wear and live without. Sometimes I'll wear none or I'll wear loads.
Yeah, okay, cool. So just looking at the future, what do you plan to do once you've graduated?
I have no idea yet. I've loved the design, but I've also really liked visual merchandising that I've done in my work experience. So I'm just kind of going with it, enjoying my time, doing whatever I can do and see where it goes.
If you could have the dream job, is there any kind of brands that really stand out to you and you think, I'd love to work for them?
I don't really know. Like maybe even just have my own brand would be really, really nice one day.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe something in sportwear.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. And just going back to you mentioned you did work-based learning.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about that, what you did?
So we did a work-based learning unit and I worked at Riso, the Solent store. I did visual merchandising there for about 4 or 5 months. She took me on I work at Primark normally, so we do VM kind of as our job role anyway because it changes so often. And then as a VM I got to paint the walls, do windows, like put outfits together, and it just kind of gave me the little niche to like see what colours go together, and I think that's helped me in my collection to see like what looks good to the eye to like what looks good next to each other.
So did you learn a lot working at Reside?
Yeah, I think I became a lot more confident in like my eye and like my aesthetic.
Would you say that visual merchandising is a job that you could see yourself going into after university?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an option that I'm going to explore.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%, but I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So how has your collection developed since the start of September to now?
So at the start it was quite dark and very edgy. And it didn't have as much of the colourful creative world as what I wanted. So since then I've developed my print loads of times, I've changed my colour scheme a lot, and like it's a lot more brighter, but it's still got the straps, the buckles, the clips, everything that keeps it in the whole control thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's really, really brightened up.
Okay, that's cool. So how have those changes come about? Is it like chats that you had with your lecturers, or was it?
Yeah, I think it's, every Monday we see all our lecturers, and I think every time there was just something a bit off, something was a bit too wrong, and then every time we changed the colour, it was like we were getting step by step closer to what I wanted, and then we just ended up with a completely different colour scheme.
Do you think that those meetings with your lecturers, like how important are they to you? Like,
so important. I think if I missed one, I'd be so behind.
Yeah.
I think if we didn't have it, I wouldn't know where I was going with it.
so they keep you on track and ready for the show.
Yeah, 100%.
So obviously it's in a few months' time. Are you feeling ready for it with your collection?
Yes and no. Like I feel like you get lost in the making process, that like you don't feel like the show's as close as what it is because you've still got so much to do in such a short amount of time.
What are you most excited for, looking forward to at the show?
I think I'm just excited to see someone wear it.
Yeah.
Or like the photos, or even just my parents seeing it.
Yeah.
Like it's really exciting.
Yeah, that is. Can you give us a sneak peek of what we can expect to see from your collection on the show?
It's a lot of bubbles.
Yeah.
And a lot of colour.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. Thank you for your time.
That's okay.
That's it for today's episode of Designer Talks. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you're following all our social media accounts.